So joining me now are Lee McNamara, Group Head of Internal Comms and Culture at DFS, and Gareth Fryer, co-founder of Fika, the mental fitness app. These guys are talking a little later in a session about preventative culture. Lee, let's start with you. Let's just set the scene on the challenges you face at DFS when it comes to mental health of your employees.
Yeah, so we're a retailer. We sell upholstery products, sofas, you've probably heard of us, that kind of thing. We are actually vertically integrated, so as well as selling sofas, we make them and we deliver them as well. When you start to look at the kind of gender makeup and the sort of gender-specific challenges that manufacturing and the logistics industries face, they're male-dominated businesses, right? So, and what that brings is a certain special set of issues when it comes to mental health, particularly when it comes to men's mental health. What you find is that problems are more acute in the demographics that work predominantly in those areas for us. And the people that need the help most have the least propensity to go and seek it out. So we're very, very clear that we have a duty of care to our employees to make sure that we equip them with tools, techniques and support that mean that we move past the discussions around mental health and how you can have good mental fitness, because there's a marked difference, and Gareth will talk very eloquently about what that is. But having good mental health is a result of being mentally fit.
Right.
Good mental health outcomes are something that you can get by practicing your mental fitness. So, and that's what we're doing working with Fika. In the same way, and I will shut up in a second.
No, this is good. This is all good.
In the same way that when we have, and what I mean by duty of care, if we bring on someone who's going to work in our warehouse, for example, they have to lift sofas, right? And some of those sofas are pretty heavy. We wouldn't just go, off you go and lift sofas.
Yeah,
we would make sure that we trained them and that they knew how to safely lift sofas and safely conduct themselves in that environment. And yet we're getting better through the work that we're doing with Fika. But loads of organisations don't take that sort of approach around that day one duty of care when it comes to mental fitness. Because stresses, strains, anxiety, we all go through it at work, at home, but we don't do anything to help colleagues day to day have really good outcomes through mental fitness that you can, as I said, train and kind of and get better at and equip yourselves with those tools and techniques.
Yeah. And just so we understand, how many colleagues do you have in the business?
We've got about 6,000 colleagues across sort of the UK, Ireland, Spain and the Netherlands. So we're working around how we take a very different approach to this than just sort of allowing access to a product or an app. And that's sort of what I'm here today talking with Gareth. Yeah.
Nice cue. Let's bring Gareth in. Do you want to just give us a little intro to Fika and also how you started working with Lee's team?
Yeah, sure. So we're 4 years into our journey at Fika, at Mental Fitness. Both Nick and I come from a background of building products and services for other people. We both have our own personal stories with mental health decline. Nick's best friend Ben died by suicide a few years ago, and myself, I've been diagnosed with cancer twice and had a burnout in the middle, sandwiched in the middle of those things. So we left and decided to put our skills to doing something more meaningful and understanding how do we prevent the decline of mental health, not treat the decline of mental health. So what we've identified is that actually there are about 100 psychological techniques that if you use them and know how to apply them, you can manage your mental fitness, you can be better prepared to deal with challenges before they happen. Yet when it comes to mental health, we typically think of it as something that we need to react to, and that good mental health is to do with, basically a good mental health means not being mentally ill. That isn't the science of how mental health actually works. So we've developed a formal training platform. It's education-based, it's performance psychology-based. It's all about helping people build skills that are actually essential for the future of work. It's not just about mental health, it's about everyday performance to bring that kind of whole self to work. So through that platform, we help organisations like DFS and many education institutions, universities, employers, etc., to put those skills into their cultures to help people, have those sustainable, positive mental fitness habits for the long term. And we were introduced to DFS through a mutual connection, and the rest is history, really.
You both use this term mental fitness a lot. Is that something that you've coined, or have you sort of built on it?
I don't think mental fitness is increasing its awareness, and I think that's a great thing, because actually if you look at mental health and compare it to the physical health spectrum, because we have high literacy in physical health, we're taught how it works. we understand positive physical fitness. We know that that's good. We don't blame the external factors for our own physical health. We blame ourselves for our own physical health because we know that we have accountability for it. Yet when it comes to our mental health, actually, I think there's some great stats from the Wellcome Trust. Only 26% of people believe that globally that science can make a difference to their mental health. Through our own platform and through a scale we'll be launching today, we've helped organisations understand that circa 40% of your employees don't believe that their mental health is a thing that they can have any control over. So they're never going to go near a proactive wellbeing initiative because they don't even believe that they can make a difference to it. And that's why we have to fundamentally change the way we think about skills for work, to help people perform.
Sure. Lee, do you want to talk us through how you're working with Gareth's team?
Yeah, so we're working with Gareth and the team to do a few things. One is, it's a real learning for us as an organisation, because you've just mentioned yourself sort of what we're talking about. The narrative around it's not very well known. So we're kind of swimming against the tide a little bit on that one anyway, but that's fine, that's all good. What we're trying to do is understand how we can take the learnings and products that Fika can provide us and properly embed them in our organisation. So because when we've deployed the app already and we've got higher than sort of industry average usage, which is a big tick, right? But there's still a massive proportion of colleagues, right, that aren't engaging with the tools and techniques that can make their lives better, right? So how can we take those tools and techniques and move away from encouraging colleagues to go and access them via an app, which is a great kind of easy, democratized way to get access to it, but blend it into everything that we do. So how we induct colleagues, we're taking the tools and techniques of Fika, and we're blending that into our induction process. So colleagues just get more mentally fit just by going through our induction process, for example. Yeah. And we're thinking, okay, so if I've just got a promotion and I'm transitioning from not being a line manager to being a line manager, no one's born with great leadership skills. So how can we, through tools and techniques, help blend in aspects of mental fitness into the support and wraparound care that we give our managers as they transition from one job into another. And that's what first actually attracted us to Fika, was the productization of it and how they wrapped it around different aspects of it. So, I'm here today. I'm going to be talking with Gareth in a little bit. Luckily, I can waffle on, so I'm generally all right. But what happens if actually I get quite anxious about this, which, by the way, is a perfectly normal thing to feel. Anxiety isn't bad, stress isn't bad. So, but how can we then use that feeling to help me prepare better? That's what Fika does. It takes, we're trying to change the narrative around, I'm anxious, that's bad. Well, no, it isn't actually. It's perfectly natural in certain circumstances to feel anxious. It's what your body does to make you prepare. It's perfectly normal to feel stressed. It's what your body does to help you get ready to perform. So how can we help have better conversations about these aspects and equip colleagues with different tools and techniques to a certain extent without them even knowing about it? Because it's just how we help and support colleagues through joining our business, thriving in our business, and kind of building a good career in our business. That's what we're trying to do with Fika, as well as give them access to the app.
Yeah. Gareth, are there any other key challenges that some of your other partners are facing that you wanted to highlight?
Yeah, I think everyone's facing a similar challenge, right? I don't think anyone in this room would doubt that positive mental well-being is a good thing. It's well documented, the things are there. But we're in we have, circa 40% of people are thinking of moving jobs within the next 18 months. The term rage quitting has become a real thing where people now, they don't have the patience because there's so many jobs out there. Just one day they just turn around, they just leave. And actually, we talk so much about resilience, but the definition of resilience is bouncing back from having a problem, right? That's the psychological definition of it. That can't be the best we aim for in mental health. To use Lee's analogy before, we don't train people to heal quicker from how to lift a sofa if they hurt themselves. We train them how to not hurt themselves in the first place. Yet with mental health we don't do that. And I think the key point that everyone is facing is 87% of organisations, according to latest research, offer wellbeing services. 27% of people use them.
And we've got to face into that, because commercially as an organisation, as a business, you want to know that you're making an impact, right? A positive impact. And when you face into the stats that Gareth just mentioned,
it's actually 23%.
23% from a mental health kind of well-being app point of view. unless you're willing to have a better and different conversation about that, you're not reaching the colleagues that need the help the most, which is why deploying an app is only ever going to get you so far. And talking about mental health is only ever going to get you so far, because we talk about mental health at crisis point, as Gareth said. How do we talk about having kind of how you don't get there in the first place? We don't have enough of those conversations. And I said at the start, we're swimming against the tide a bit, but ultimately we've got to start trying to change the narrative and our approach. Otherwise, I'll be here in 10 years' time and we'll still be going, 23%, that's not very good, is it?
And how do we change it so it's actually a recognition that mental health is amazing? The best of us as humans comes from the mental health spectrum. We evolved to be the dominant force of this planet because of our mental health. We're not the most physical, not the strongest. We can form shared belief systems. Our anxiety mechanism is about planning for the future and see things that haven't happened yet. We're one of the only things that can do that. It's like, we don't celebrate these things as skills in our culture. What you see is the World Economic Forum has finally recognised these skills as essential for the future of work. If you think about the post-COVID world that we're in, everyone now, we're going through transition periods all the time. I'm having to connect differently, I'm having to bounce back, I'm having to think differently about everything. That is the epitome of mental fitness, and those skills are essential for work. And Lee and I were talking about this earlier. I want to make really clear, when we talk about mental fitness, we're not saying that everyone needs to be Adonis-like pinnacles of mental fitness, because the reality is, if we take the physical fitness analogy, none of us are. We accept that most...
Speak for yourself, mate.
Of course, mate. We accept that most of us are a bit unfit, and that's okay. And we're
what are you saying?
Exactly,
but we accept that we're all working on it, because most of us, we know that being the pinnacle of physical fitness is really hard. Yet when it comes to mental health, we've missed that entire connotation that is actually, if you look at the stats as well, mental illnesses haven't increased since 1990. It's a percentage of population growth. What we have is a huge increase in poor fitness. And we just need to change the narrative around this spectrum.
Lee, how is the programme going? Are you measuring it on a constant basis?
Yeah, we are. Like I mentioned just a little bit ago, we're really, really pleased with how kind of colleagues are taking to interacting and using the app. But, can we do better? Yes, we can. Yeah. I mentioned, we're above industry average, so we're well happy with that, but we're not patting ourselves on the back going, job done. So what we're working hard at now is how we can, from the very top of our leadership, from our sort of CEOs community down, start to get them a bit genned up on it, help them be more okay talking about it and understanding and just genuinely getting better literacy about it, so we can start thinking about how we equip leaders to lead their teams and have really good conversations around these topics and feel comfortable in having these conversations, and doing that alongside offering the products via the app and also blending that in. That starts to feel a little bit more like actual driving cultural change, as opposed to going, there's some support there if you need it. Yeah. So we are more interested in creating an organisation that is mentally fit than kind of going after a sort of a well-being agenda, which is, I'm not poo-pooing it. It's very important. But if you're really going to make a difference, it takes a lot of hard work. It's uncomfortable, pushes people to places they might not necessarily want to go. But that's what change is, and that's what we're trying to bring about in this.
Yeah.
Well, listen, guys, good luck with that. Good luck with your session later. But for now, Lee McNamara and Gareth Fryer, thanks for joining the podcast.
Great.
Thank you.